Hey, welcome to John Wayne Lied to You, the podcast featuring me, John Wayne, non-extreme horror writer, half of the punk rock explosion disaster, John Wayne is Dead. I'm here. Welcome to the podcast. Thank you again for joining me for another wonderful video episode. Look at me. You can see my pretty face. I love it. Thank you guys again for joining me. Thank you for everyone who has been checking out the video versions of the podcast. Just so you know, if this is your first episode or you're new to the show, it is now on video on the John Wayne Lied to You YouTube channel. It's John Wayne Lied to You, all one word, you know, like how I like to do things like that, like John Wayne is Dead. So please check it out. We need some more subscribers. We need to get some more of this mojo going for the video, man. Because this is a lot of fun to do the video. It's an interesting thing for me to do, to take on, learn new software, stuff like that. I really dig shit like that. So I've been having a lot of fun doing the videos for this, as well as other videos we'll talk about along the way. So anyway, welcome to my neon palace of sin in fabulous downtown Las Vegas, Nevada. I am John Wayne, as I said. I am, of course, here ready to start the show with a peeping pipey pop peep pop cup of Joe Black coffee, black as day. I, of course, have it here in my John Wayne is Dead mug, which you can get at johnwayneisdead.com under the custom apparel area. And then, oh my goodness, we have got some really nice Grandpappy's medicine here for you today. Just try to show the camera if they could see it. Oh, God, it's so good. Anyway, what we are smoking today, I was in my local dispensary, Oasis, yesterday here in downtown Las Vegas, and I picked up a few things to get me through just the days. I'm going to make a big pickup before I hit the road to go to Texas here in a little bit, but this is what we're smoking today. This is Firestar is the brand. This is a local Las Vegas brand, so good to support, and what we have strain-wise is Black Cherry Gelato. Oh, goodness, this is good. We're sitting at a 26% THC. Let's give it a whirl. I have a feeling we're all gonna like this. Here we go. Puff the Magic Dragon. Oh, man. It got smoky in here. If you're watching the video version of this, it is a smoke-a-thon. But, oh, yeah, that's great. It's tasty. It's got like a very fruity, clean kind of aftertaste. Very strong. I love it. So thank you, Oasis. Thank you, Firestar. Let me clear my palate here with a little of this coffee. All right, I want to give major shouts out to all of my Patreon supporters, my Patreon members. Thank you guys so much. As now I'm about to begin my year of travel for this year. It just is such a big help. It's such a great support to know that you guys are out there, you have my back, and I appreciate it so much. If you would like to check out my Patreon, please do go to patreon.com/johnwayneisdead, or just go to johnwayneisdead.com and hit the Patreon link. It'll take you right there. So any tier gets you access to everything that I put on the wall of my Patreon page, which happens to also be the Awesome Dude for Life Boner Bonus podcast, which I speak to other artists from all around the world in different categories of art, different disciplines, different kinds of things that they do. I love this show. There's 137 episodes, I think, now, so you can watch all the back episodes. Those are video as well. Most of them, they started as audio, so there's, some audio and then some video ones. Plus, you get access to videos that I put on there, performances when I'm on the road, songwriting sessions, teasers, extra things early. You get early release news. All that kind of stuff is there on my Patreon. For as little as $3 to $5 a month, you help keep this old Johnny on the road and going strong. So thank you guys, and thank you just for listening to the podcast. If you could spread the word about this, join the YouTube, that is fantastic. I appreciate it so much. So let's see. I was talking about traveling. So let's say I talked about this a little bit last week. I'm hitting the road for the first time of the year, first long trip. I'm heading to Texas. Now, I'm not doing like, a big con there at first. I'm going to Houston to see Chris Jett, the other half of John Wayne is Dead, where we will be doing a lot of rehearsal, getting ready for some stuff, some shows, and even recording a couple of new demos, getting everything ready for the vinyl to come out, which will be out in just a month or so, we're hoping. So a lot of stuff to do there as well. So and I'll be doing something, some other stuff we'll talk about later. But it's gonna be a big, a big week. But the end of the week, first of all, the 24th, that Friday, my birthday. Ding, 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 ding. Write it down. Thank you. But I will be out there celebrating, as I am going to San Antonio for that weekend, the 25th and the 26th of January. I will be at the Children of Horror Horror Fest, which is at the Wonderland. What is it called? The Wonderland something. The Wonderland. Oh, that's it. Sorry. The Wonderland of the Americas. Now, this is like a mall situation. It looks like I've never been there before, but it's going to be fun. I talked to Max Booth III. Shouts out. Check out Ghoulish Bookstore, Ghoulish Books, the publishing. The Ghoulish Bookstore is in San Antonio, so I'm going to hook up with him for sure. And he said he's friends with the people who put on this event and that it's a good one, so I trust him implicitly. So if you're in the San Antonio area, Austin, San Marcos, it's an easy jaunt right out there. Come check it out. It's going to be a great time. The impeccably amazing Chris Jett will be with me on this, so you could get some John Wayne is Dead bonus action going in there. I don't know, maybe. So anyway, that's what's coming up on the travel. So that's kind of what I've been doing this week as I prepare. I'm filming a lot of stuff. I'm trying to get all my things, and I'm keeping up with all of my things. Staying disciplined, staying on task, having my things that I'm going to do and doing them all. Yeah, I'm staying busy, of course. But, speaking of staying busy, we work hard, we play hard. I've had a couple of cool ass little events that I got to attend recently. A couple of weeks ago, actually, this one was 2 weeks ago. The next one just happened. But I got to go see Buckethead here at Area 15. It was awesome. I don't know if you know who Buckethead is. He's a virtuoso guitar player. He just shreds. He wears a mask and a chicken bucket on his head, and he doesn't talk, and you never see him. And he's very mysterious, but he shreds like a motherfucker. He's one of these virtuoso guitarists that have a career just like actually performing like in front of people. He had a band. He played to some tracks. When I first saw him in Houston, he played just to tracks. He didn't have any other accompaniment or anything like that. So Buckethead was amazing. And what made it even more amazing was I was in the VIP area up Ray, so we could see down. I might have already talked about this. I'm not sure, but if I did, who cares? I'm just trying to catch everyone up on the cool things I've been doing. So that was awesome. And then what happened this week was a very amazing show that happened a couple of days ago. Again, at Area 15, a venue here in Las Vegas that is huge, and they have a bunch of rooms and a bunch of stuff. I've talked about it before. A couple episodes ago, that was where my New Year's Eve debacle occurred. Sorry, not sorry. But we went there, Scarlett and I, to see a show called Lil Miss Nasty. So if you don't know what that is, it's a very... it's hard to explain. It's kind of like burlesque, but more sluttier, like strippier, and more dancier. Like, and these it's just a troupe of these women who are fit as hell, very, very hot, attractive, and just they're dancing. They're doing like they have routines that they put together, the songs, and that's like kind of like where the burlesque thing is. But they do a lot of like group numbers, or sometimes they were singing. They'd have partner dances, and they would be on like just different objects on the stage and just doing all kinds of crazy sexy ass things, licking each other, stuff like that, or faux licking. I don't know. It was such an awesome show, especially if you like dancing or burlesque, of course, or you like going to the strip club. You're gonna like this show. It was awesome. It's like a 2-hour show. Had a little intermission in there. Again, this was badass. Now, I have to say, no, I'm not big time anything. I just happen to get lucky to know people and fortunate enough for them to put me on lists to get into things, which that was like the Buckethead thing and this thing. So I'm not blowing up anybody's spot, but I appreciate, when those things come around. And this happened to be one of those things. And Scarlett and I got to sit VIP at this show. VIP is like right on the front is all couches, white couches all around, and you get to sit on a couch instead of the chairs, like a bunch of chumps behind you. And we got drink tickets and stuff like that, which is always fun. But it was a blast. I cannot recommend this show highly enough. Apparently, like in the after party, they went up and they did a couple more performances up at the bar upstairs or something like that. We didn't stay for that. But Lil Miss Nasty, check them out. They're actually going on tour right now. This was kind of like a tour kickoff thing that they were doing. And it's a show that's worth seeing. So if you see Lil Miss Nasty come into your town, it's a big, strong, high recommend from old Uncle Johnny here. Absolutely think you should do that. So, along with going to see some sexy shows, I told you I've been working hard, trying to do a lot of new things for this new year. Do what I do as John Wayne, but do it differently. Do some new things. I know like video podcast and is a new part of the podcast. And I know people, that's not something like, oh, groundbreaking. Everybody does that now. It's kind of like if you're not doing video with your podcast, it's almost like you're dumb, like you're the outlier. But it's whatever, I think. This is just something I wanted to take on, a challenge. I think it's fun, and I'm having fun doing it. But I've also been filming other things and other content, if you will, that I'm putting on the John Wayne is Dead YouTube page as well. So I talked about it, I think, a little bit last week, but just plug it again or talk to you guys about it again. Some of you may have seen it if you follow my socials and things like that. It's a segment I've been doing called Shit in John Wayne's Room. It's where I come in here to my wonderful office. As you can see, all these wonderful things in here. I change it up a little bit every time when you all come step in to talk to me. Look at this poster back behind me. It's huge. It's French. What is it? It'll be something we talk about in Shit in John Wayne's Room in one of the future segments. I just talk about something that's in my office here. I've got a lot of stuff. I've got a lot of things that have been given to me and have great stories behind them and are precious in certain ways. And I want to talk to you guys about them, show them off a little bit, and hopefully, we'll have a couple yuck-ups, chuckles in the interim there. I've started with all of my guitars. So this is the Guitar Chronicles edition for these first 6 or so segments. And then it's going to be branched out to different things in the room. My art, other art that I have, figures that I've been given, things that have been made for me. I'm going to talk about all this stuff, and it's exciting. So please check that out as well. It's at the John Wayne Lied to You YouTube page. I know, John Wayne, why do we have so many YouTube pages? Well, I want to keep the podcast one separate. Its own thing. I think that if I tried to like integrate that with the other channel, there's all kinds of stuff going on there, and it might be confusing for new listeners or whatever. So I'm keeping them separate for now. Keep them separate, right, Ed? But go to the John Wayne is Dead YouTube page. Plus, I have these all posted at johnwayneisdead.com in their own little tabs. You just click on it, a whole page. They're just right there, embedded into the page. You can watch them there. But they're a lot of fun. So if you get a chance, that'd be great to check those out. Just throw me back any feedback in the comments or anything like that. Or if you see something in the background of my room in one of these videos that I make, and you're like, "What is that?" Do that. I'll take requests. If you see something you want to know about, let me know. I'm happy to talk about it here in one of the segments. So speaking of the Shit in John Wayne's Room segment, speaking of my guitars, like I said, talking about all the guitars that I play. I talk about my band, John Wayne is Dead. I'm very excited to be going to Houston this week to get to rehearse with Chris Jett again. We've been apart too long, but it's gonna be great, and I'm stoked for that. So I decided, here's my show, it's video. I can do whatever the fuck I want. I'm going to throw in right now, we're going to watch the music video, the John Wayne is Dead music video for the song Worth It. This is from our new album that's out right now called Who Hurt You. It's a shot by the one and only Nick P. for perfection and plump Poncios. I love him. Nick P shot this. It was great. And we're going to watch it right here. And if you're in the audio stream, you're going to just listen to the song. Okay. This is John Wayne is Dead, Chris Jett and I with our video and song Worth It. All right, hey, we're back. That was the song Worth It from the new John Wayne is Dead record, Who Hurt You, out right now, streaming. Cassettes are still available. There will be a whole new run of cassettes coming up with the vinyl release. Look for that. But check us out. Like I said, I'll be in Houston next week, so there might be maybe a surprise show up. Who knows? Keep your eyes to the stars, children, and maybe we'll find out if that's going to happen. But anyway, that's out there, so please check it out. The whole thing is streaming on Spotify and everything else you can stream music from. So speaking of streaming, I talked about this last week, the soft launch of the official Puss and Goose OnlyFans, which is myself and the very talented Dana Marie, King, Graham, all that shit, Octoboros. Dana is a very good friend of mine. She's a very talented artist, performer, tattoo artist. She's done my neck and a lot of my other tattoos. And she had this concept for us, and we put it together, and it is now up on OnlyFans. Excuse me, man, that got me. For you guys to check out. You know, I know when people are like, OnlyFans, what is that? All like fucky, fucky things, you know, and a lot of it is, this isn't per se, it's like, you know, erotic, there's erotica happening, there's painting going on, it's art, it's erotic, it's you know, very, you know, we try to make it sexy. I don't wear a shirt a lot of the time or any of the time, but just check it out. I want to bury the lead a little bit on this one. Please give it a try. Go to the Puss and Goose OnlyFans. It's OnlyFans/ OnlyFans.com/Puss and Goose. PUSSNGOOSE. Now, also because I'm going to Houston, I'll be meeting with Dana, and we will be working on some more of those videos as well while I'm there. Also, we will be officially launching the OnlyFans while I'm there, because we'll be doing the promotion for it together. So we're waiting for that, and then you'll see a bunch of promotion for it. There's already an Instagram, Puss and Goose, if you want to follow that. It's, you know, it's kind of like I said, it's that one hasn't really been launched yet. Some people who know are on it. We haven't put too much stuff on it, but it's about to get wild. So check out the OnlyFans. Everyone that's been clamoring, start your hornies, everybody. John Wayne has an OnlyFans, and it's awesome. So check it out as well. So I talked about my Patreon earlier in the show, top of the show, talked about the Awesome Dude for Life Boner Bonus podcast. And a lot of you know what I like to do is, give you a little glimpse of what's going on over there on Patreon this week, who I talked to, and a little bit of our conversation. So this week, I talked to author and very good friend of mine, Wesley Southard. Wes, I've known for years. A lot of you longtime listeners have heard him on the show before, heard me talk about him on the show before. He's, I love Wes to death. He's a very talented author. He's now a father. Father Wes. He's a father. He gets taller every time I see him, I think. But anyway, he has a new novella out that just came out last week, and we talk all about that. We talk about a lot of other stuff. Wes and I always have funny conversations. We talk about a lot of movies in this one too, and it's pretty fun. So I want to give you guys a little glimpse into what we talked about, our conversation, and the whole thing. So I'm going to play just a little chunk of the episode here for you to get a taste of. If you like what you hear, you want to hear the rest, go on over to patreon.com/johnwayneisdead and sign up. You can watch the whole episode plus all the back episodes that come along with it and all the other stuff that goes up on the page. So check that out. But right now, here's a little bit of my conversation with author Wesley Southard. So anyway, Wes, you are an author of horror. All kinds of horror, not just extreme. You've got a great range of the grasp on the horror, and you and I, we disagree about some certain things about movies and stuff, but that's neither here nor there because art is subjective.
Absolutely.
And everybody can like whatever they like, and I like you, and I also like that. I wanted to have you on because we're gonna bullshit, of course, a lot of this episode because that's what we do. But I want to talk about your new book. Just came out. Is it everybody or everyone?
Everybody.
Wants to rule the world.
You can see the glare.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a glare. I'll throw up like a graphic on here. I'm high tech now, dude. You don't even know, dude. I'm like fucking. So that just came out, and that's a novella, or it's not a collection, right? It's a single story.
It's just a single novella, yes. So it was originally published 2 years ago in a book that I put out with author Wiley Young called Disaster Pieces. It was 2 stories about non-supernatural horror thriller, kind of more on the thriller side of disaster stories, either natural or man-made disasters. We both really loved the book. We loved writing these stories. It just
you loved each other,
we loved each other.
Yeah.
It's
understandable.
Unfortunately did not kind of pop off the way we wanted it to. We really wanted to do this as a series. We wanted to do one of these like once every year or once every other year because we had all these different ideas for like disasters and stuff, and I thought they would make really good, a really cool series.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it just never caught on with our readers. I don't know why. I think both of those stories my story and his are 2 of the best things we've ever written.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Are these the ones from the book with the awesome cover with the explosion in her reflection or whatever? So this is your part of that.
Yes.
Book. Oh, okay.
Yes.
And so is that book out of print now? You can't get that?
It's still in print. I've been meaning to take it out. I'm just
saying for our listeners,
right.
That are collectors, then you should probably get the joint edition as well before that goes out of print, and then get the new single edition.
Right.
So you have because you want to. I know because I have both covers of Slaves of Gravity or whatever that you guys did.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
I like to do stuff like that. So some people do. Some people like collect covers or editions. So
always
good to give a little tip off. So that one's going to be gone soon. And now just you, the cheese stands alone. You're the cheese.
Yes. Yes. And
What's going?
Wiley's story will be out. I think he says he's going to be putting his out solo by AuthorCon, I think is what he said to me.
He says a lot of
So
things. He just, I better. No, we love Wiley. I'm sure. Yeah. Well, I can't wait to see him at AuthorCon.
yeah,
He gets taller every time I see him too.
he really does
Uh,
actually.
yeah, yeah. So what's the story? Give us the story, more in glory. Give us
So
the fucking pitch of this, please.
So the story is about a young man who is at work, and while he's at work on a Saturday, the top of the building just completely erupts. Um, and he and many of his coworkers get buried underneath the rubble and the fire, and he is one of the only survivors of this. And when he wakes up, he is completely pinned down and trapped, and he's got another coworker that's in the same predicament. And he has to basically fight his way out of this and find his way down and through the building with this hurt coworker before the building completely collapses and kills everybody else. Um, but it also deals with a past friendship of his that he had in his life that wasn't necessarily very good for him. Kind of opposites attract sort of kind of thing. He's a young
I love that Paula Abdul song, by the
yeah
way. Good.
with the cat.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
MC
with the
Scat Cat, dude.
cat. Yeah,
MC Scat Cat, of
yeah.
course.
But it jumps back and forth between the
Friend of the
present
show.
and yeah, and friend of the show.
Friend of the show. So,
It jumps back and forth in the narrative from the present of him and this coworker trying to get worm their way down through the building as it's kind of collapsing around them, and going back and forth between that and what happened in his past with this friend that he made, who again he's a young Puerto Rican man, and the guy that he became friends with is kind of this white guy who ends up really showing his colors, early on and later in life, with kind of being a racist and a kind of an asshole, basically. But for some reason, this opposites attract, and they became very good friends, and how their friendship kind of collapsed over time and eroded and showed that he didn't want to be a part of this, and how that friendship may be involved in what's happening in his present.
it,
Um,
it's like an analogous thing to him, like trying to get down this burning
yes,
building
yes,
with this other guy,
yes.
and it's okay.
So
It sounds hilarious, by the
yes,
way.
it's a riot. Yes.
Yeah. No,
Um,
yeah, I get
I,
it.
I really love this story a lot, and I was very sad the last couple of years that this book really never caught on the way we wanted it to. So I had to kind of make the decision of saying, look, like our we deserve to have these stories read. I think these are some of the best stories we've ever written, and unfortunately, it just meant that we had to break them up into two different books now. But hopefully,
Does
now our
this
readers will give them a shot and check them out, because I think they're definitely worth your time.
mean that like Wesley Southard and Wiley Young are not the chocolate and peanut butter combination that we thought they were? Now you have to pull them apart. It's more like pickle juice and gin rummy or something, and then
Like
you
like
have to be
tuna fish,
separate,
like
and
tuna fish and ham.
ooh, that sounds good. No, that's interesting that you say that though. Like, that you think they should. I mean, that cover was great, and the cover is great on that. I definitely
Yeah.
suggest anybody listening scoop that up, the joint one, if you can before it's gone. But um, so you've put this out, and this is under South of Heaven, your own imprint.
Yep.
Um, is this also something that will appear in like maybe a future? Was this something you'd throw into a collection if maybe a year from now or something? You're like, here's like 13 stories plus this type of thing. Like, is it one of
Um,
those?
I think if I were to do something like that, it would definitely need to be with something a little less, like if like a collection maybe of stuff that was less horror and more suspense and thriller, which is something that I've actually
Oh, that clown erotica that you've been writing.
the clown porn that I've been
Clown
writing.
erotica, we call it.
Because I've actually been kind of I don't know, like transitioning into different genres of fiction the last couple of years, and I've been trying my hand at mystery and suspense and thriller, and I've really been enjoying it a lot. Um, like the book that I put out back in October was actually a novella collection, The Better to Eat You With, which has two of my older novellas, but then I wrote a 42,000 word short novel called Threesome, and that story is a straight up just mystery thriller story, and I absolutely adore that one, but it's nothing like the other two stories in there. Um, yeah, I've just I don't know, something the last couple of years. I don't know if it's just when becoming a father or getting older. Um, Something's kind of changed with my tastes in my fiction, and even my reading has changed. And I don't know. I don't. It could be a combination of all those things, but I've just been wanting to branch out and try different styles of fiction because I don't want to be stuck writing just horror. Like I'm always going to be a horror author. Like horror is my boner jams. Um,
I've seen it.
but you've seen it. But one of my all-time heroes in fiction has always been Richard Matheson. And Richard Matheson, of course, is known for his horror, but the man conquered every genre. I mean, he wrote science fiction out the ass. He wrote romance, he wrote westerns, he wrote thrillers, he wrote everything and was so good at all of it. I mean, he was a master at all of it. And I don't want to necessarily just be stuck writing horror. I mean, all the stuff I do write is going to be dark, but I want to try to write in any genre. I want to be able to say in 15, 20 years that yeah, I wrote horror, I wrote all these other genres, and I'd like to think that they were good,
Hmm.
but I don't know. It's just something that I'm more interested in now than I ever have been.
Well, Wes, I think like, you and I talk uh, a lot about stuff like this, but we also have a very close connection to music and bands that we
Yeah.
like. And, the bands that have survived for 25, 30 years now are bands that have, these are artists that have grown, they've changed. They can't just put out the same like fucking cha-chung, 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 cha-chung
Yeah.
record
You
in
can't you can't
that
be
was
Slayer.
awesome in 97, but like, you gotta evolve. You have to
Right.
change.
Absolutely.
As artists, like, and as writers, this is our craft. And, it's fine to stay in the pocket where, where you find your niche and you just go with it. But you have to flex that, not flex that muscle, you have to develop that muscle, and it's got to be
Absolutely.
different. You can't just come in and do curls every day and be like, what's up, ladies, how you doing, look at my curls, slasher, slasher, slasher. Okay, we get it. You've got big ass biceps and you can ride a slasher. What the fuck else? What have you done for me lately?
Exactly.
And for some people that's fine, but I agree with you the way that you're speaking about your journey and development. You have to evolve, you have to change, you have to do all these things. And if you come back ultimately to the maybe like stuff that you wrote closer to your career, the closer to the beginning of your career, at the end of figuring all this out, it's gonna be the best version of that. If you'd like to hear the entire episode, please check out my Patreon, patreon.com/johnwayneisdead, and sign up, and you can hear that one as well as all the other ones. And check Wes out. Check out his new book as well. So anyway, moving right along. Speaking of books, one of our new segments here on the show that I'm having a lot of fun with and enjoying quite a bit is a segment where I talk about, I read a lot of books in the past year. I've been like devouring books lately. I think I've already read 4 books. It's only the third week of January. Everyone reads differently in different paces. Like I didn't read this many books 2 years ago, but now I don't know, I'm just in a reading thing, whatever that means. But this next segment is where I like to talk about these books that I've just recently read and that I care a lot about and want to share with you. This in a segment we call What You Reading For?
What you reading for?
Okay, so this week, what we're reading for is a book that I enjoyed quite a bit called All You Need Is Kill by Hiroshi Sakurazaka. And it is, I'll pop a picture of it down in the corner because of the lights here, but if you don't know, some of you do know about this book. It's based on, or it's not based on it. The movie Edge of Tomorrow is based on this book. That's a Tom Cruise movie. It was out 2014. This is actually one of my favorite movies. I really like the story. It captured my imagination in such a way that I couldn't get enough of it. I watched it a few times, and then when I found out about I just found out that was a book like recently, like some kind of asshole I am, and I scooped it up, just read it like in a day. So if you don't know what the premise of this is, if you're not familiar with the movie or anything, basically there's this war that's happening with these aliens that have come down, and they're uh, engaging in this war with everybody on Earth because they're trying to they're want to destroy everybody and terraform that world for their people to come down from their dying planet to live on our planet, right? So part of that is they kill all the humans and start doing their terraforming shit or whatever. These aliens are like weird kind of octopusy looking crazy things, starfish looking things, and they are basically have been attacking the world for years and years and years. This war's been going on for many years when we start the story. And part of the way that they fight them is they get in these mech suits, like kind of battle suits that are supposed to be like just this best thing, and they're going to help kill all the mimics and all that stuff, but it's actually just kind of bullshit. Now our hero is in the fight, he's in the fray, like he in this book he's been fighting for a while, in the army. In the movie, Tom Cruise gets thrown into whatever. We're not talking about the movie right now. So in this fight, he's battling one of these mimics that's actually like a boss mimic, I guess, and it's got different kind of shit, and he blows it up, and it's like blood gets into him, and because he blows up as well, and that mimic's blood gets in his blood, and boom, you know what, he wakes up and he's alive again the next day. He's starting basically the day over, kind of like a Groundhog Day thing, but it's every time he dies he starts over. So he starts to at first, when he realizes what's happening, he really then starts to basically use these days. Every day he goes into a battle, right? It's scheduled. They're going into battle. Sometimes he skips it. He does different things, but he basically just like trains and trains and trains, fights. He learns what they're going to do so that he can like see their next move. And there's another one that's just like him that used to have that power, this woman, and they find each other on the battlefield and they start working together, but they only have one day to work together because she's not stuck in a loop anymore, only him. They're both trying to get better and better through this repeating of everything so that they can destroy these mimics and end the war. And the mimics, well, they're onto them, so they know that they got their power and they're gonna come take it back. This book is fast-paced. It's very cool. If you're a fan of that movie, the movie is also called Live, Die, Repeat sometimes. If you're a fan of that movie, you'll definitely be a fan of this book. There was a manga also that came out that was based on this. There was also an American graphic novel that came out that was based on this. And this book basically launched the career of Hiroshi Sakurazaka. I'm just looking because I want to pronounce it correctly. And he writes a lot of other science fiction-y type titles that some of them have been translated, so you can look into those. This also won the Best Japanese Long Work in the 2005 Cyan Awards. I'm not sure what that is, but he won it and he deserves to be known for it. So anyway, that's what you reading for this week. Check out All You Need Is Kill by Hiroshi Sakurazaka. Check out his other work, and if you haven't seen the movie Edge of Tomorrow, hey, give that a watch as well.
What you reading for?
Okay, that was what you reading for. I hope you enjoyed that. Get some good reading material going here. Now, moving right along, we are in another one of my favorite news segments on the show. Some of you have seen my mom on some of my videos before. She's made some little quips on some commercials and stuff like that for my things. She's wonderful. And I decided to let her have her own segment on my show here. She loves her movies. She used to watch all the movies when we were kids to make sure that they weren't too naughty for us. And she got hooked on them herself. So I said, Ma, come on, talk about the movies that you like, the ones that you want to talk about on the show. And have carte blanche doing it. So, without further ado, this week's edition of Mom's Movie Corner. Thank you, John Wayne. I appreciate it. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Mom's Movie Corner, another segment. We did it, everyone. Thank you for all the positive feedback and for liking the movies that I recommend or just listening to them. These are the movies that my boys love to watch, and I watched them too, so I made sure that there was nothing too spicy or naughty for them to see. So that's how this segment got to be, because I get to talk about them now. So this week's movie, very fun. This is a movie from 1991, and it is called Guyver. Sometimes it's called The Guyver. Now, not to be confused with MacGyver. I know what you're thinking. It has nothing to do with him at all. So, this movie, like I said, came out in 1991, and it was directed by Screamin' Mad George and Steve Wang. And isn't that fun? Screamin' Mad George. Now, Screamin' Mad George actually came onto the project because he is an effects man. He makes effects, and he did work on Nightmare on Elm Street Part 4. So they brought Screamin' Mad George over to help direct and to do these practical effects and props, because this movie is full of them. Oh my God, the costumes you should see. We'll get to it. So anyway, this movie stars Mark Hamill, won Star Wars fame, and we also have Jimmy Walker from Good Times. You know Jimmy, Dynamite. By the way, if you ever want to have a good cry, watch the two-part arc in the story in Good Times, the show, when James dies. Oh my God, it's so sad. But it's one of my favorite, that's one of my favorite things to do. You want a good cry, you see that. So Jimmy Walker is very fun. Very good to see him in this movie. Also, Scream Queen Linnea Quigley is in this movie, as well as Michael Berryman, and he has been in a bunch of horror movies you've seen and know. And so anyway, here's the plot of this movie. So there are these scientists who have this alien technology, and they've been using it to turn morph or mutate each other and subjects into these half human, half monsters. They're actually just kind of all monster when they turn. But they, what do they call them? They call them zoonoids. Now that's a funny word, zoonoids, but it's not real. But that's what they turn into. Now, for some reason, at the beginning, there's a scientist who wants to get out, and he's running away with this object that they very badly want. They call it the unit, but it's actually the Guyver. So everyone's chasing him from the science place, and they want to get him, and they give us the thing, and then they all start turning into their monsters, and it's very creepy but awesome. So great. It's great to see real costumes on people, practical effects. It was so good. The monsters are scary. They look cool. Remember, wetter is better. That's what Nick P always says to John Wayne, and I gotta tell you, he is right. These are some wet monsters. So now, thumbs up for that. So anyway, the scientist, before they get to him, he hides the Guyver in a lunchbox in the garbage, leaves, boom, our hero, he's some fucking punk kid that's like, and he's take karate, and he's getting his ass kicked and all this, but he goes and he finds that lunchbox, and he's like, what is this thing? And it's like a little, little weird device, and he goes and he's getting, he starts fucking with it, and then it gets inside of him and like takes him over, and he's like, oh, he wakes up and he's like, I don't know what happened. It's inside of him now. The thing is, then he gets jumped, of course, by a gang on his way home, and he turns into the Guyver. And it's like a cyborg suit that just comes out of him and encases him, and he just is fucking shed up with he's messing things up with all of his moves and weapons, and now the scientists know they found him, and they want their Guyver back. And they all turn into their scary monsters. So many scary monsters that they turn into. So they go, they fight him, they can't get him, they think they're gonna get him. They kidnap his girlfriend, of course. They take her back to the science place, and I'm not going to spoil it. I don't do spoilies, but hilarity ensues. Such a great movie, The Guyver. I have to say, I like things with creatures. I like fun creatures. I like to see them dance. There's not a lot of dancing in this, but I will tell you what, Jimmy Walker's character is a rapper. And as far as rap goes, I think he's excellent. John Wayne said, Mom, that's not rap. I said, rap-a-dap, that's rap to me. So J.J. Walker's character raps a lot in this movie, and I think they're excellent raps. So if only you take away for this, if you want some good Jimmy Walker raps, go watch The Guyver. If you like scary creatures and creepy science stuff and cyborgs, this is the movie for you. I also found out there's a sequel, and I'm going to have to watch that because I have not seen it. So, anyway, The Guyver, 1991. Screaming Mad, George and Steve Wang, I'm sorry, there, and it is 3 thumbs up from Mom, all the way, loved, highly recommend, please check it out, and thank you again for joining me for Mom's Movie Corner. Bye! Okay, hey, thanks, Mom. That was awesome. That movie, I saw that movie too. It was actually very cool. I like all the effects. I like Jimmy J.J. Walker. Why'd you shoot him in the lips? And he becomes a big, crazy monster. It's pretty cool. So thanks, Mom. Appreciate that. Love you. Okay, shut the door on your way out. All right, I'll pick it up. Okay, bye. Love you. Anyway, so. Moving right along, guys, we're reaching the part where I just like to chat, give a little story, some things that are going on. The format of the show before used to be a hard and fast story about what happened to me or a review of something, of a con I went to. And, now I'm just kind of talking from the heart, telling stories, just doing just chatting. I think this is a nice time. I want to talk about, since this is the first trip of the year, my travel is starting for the new year. Last year, I had some rough times, some touch and go things. We've talked about it before. Go back and listen. But starting anew for the new year travel, I started thinking about, I'm already, I've talked about before. I'm keeping a very positive mindset for this year. It's not just that I'm like, it's the new year, new me. No, it's like, this is just a demarcation point where I'm taking back control of things. I am giving, putting the energy out there. I'm not gonna make, I'm gonna make better decisions. I'm gonna do all of this better. So I'm very positive. I'm very optimistic. I was thinking about things, and it took me back to the first convention I ever vended at. So if you're a longtime listener of the show, you've heard this story told. I've talked about this interaction before, but just bear with me. It's always good to hear. So the first show that I actually had books of mine to sell was several years ago, 7 years ago, 6 years ago, at in Atlanta, Days of the Dead. I was vending, sharing a table, a 3-way table with my buddy Mike Lombardo, who is a filmmaker, and also author David Barbie, who came up in the Bizarro scene as well. Very fun couple of guys, very good writers and filmmakers, just very talented guys. And I was happy as can be to be sharing a table with these two guys that kind of seasoned a little bit, right? Mike especially, he was right from the bat. I had this moment when they were opening the doors on Friday, sitting there where I was just like, who do I think I am? What the fuck am I doing here? Books? Why does anybody, what am I, but all that stuff starts swirling in your head, and it's like, and I had to just shut all that out, block it out, and be like, you know why you're here, dude. You want it. This is part of your goal. Stop fucking thinking all that crazy shit. Get up. Let's fucking do this. So, I stood up. I was like, I'm not sitting down. And Mike, good, we're not sitting down. We took all the chairs away. And like I said, from the get, Mike Lombardo was just a dynamo. He's talking to people, doing all this, cracking jokes and all this kind of stuff with the people. And I'm like, okay, that's it. That's the thing. I'm good at that. I'm good at talking to people. I'm stupid. People laugh at me. So then, we start riffing with each other, and we are just, not only is he making it easier and more comfortable, we are having a great time. And the people that are coming to our booth or hanging out or walking by, they're laughing, they're having a good time too. So that also showed me, like, this isn't about just us coming here and like, hey lady, you want to buy a book or you want to buy a movie? It's about an interaction. It's about an experience, for yourself and for the people that are there. Do you want them to, you just sit behind your book booth and do nothing and people walk by and don't even remember that you were there? Or, even people walk by and be like, what the hell are those guys doing? They're cackling, they're cutting up. I think somebody just made fun of my haircut. We probably did. And then, maybe you remember that, or maybe you walk back around and see like, well, what the fuck is going on with these guys? It's an experience. I don't know. It doesn't work for everybody, but that's just kind of how I was seeing it in my head as Mike and David and I were doing this. And this, like I said, my first time doing anything like this. So the weekend goes on, and I didn't sell 100, million books or anything like that, but I sold books. People came and bought my books. Some of those people that I met on that day still buy every single thing that I put out. They support me. They come out and see me when they can. They, check out all the stuff I put out there. And those are like legit bonds that I think about, and I think about the importance of that a lot. It means a lot to me, and that's always why I'm always going to be genuine. I'm not ever going to put on airs. I'm not going to try to be Mr. Cool Guy in any way that I'm not just doing naturally or whatever. I'm just thankful for that, and that put me in a good headset. And then again, I've said this before, but Mike told me something that I think about a lot. Very, very good words. I asked him, it was on Sunday, the end of that weekend. I was like, Mike, what's the secret here? Like, what do we do? People are, there's a lot of people here, but they're stopping. How do we get people, what's a surefire way? What's another method or whatever? And he's like, dude, we're doing it. Look, he's like, look around. What do you see? You got t-shirts, you got toys, you got fan art, and then you have us. And this is our art that we created. And it's not based on somebody's IP. And it's not, a object like a shirt or so. This is a piece of art. And he said, we're artists. We have to sing for our supper every day. And that right there has stuck with me. I think about that like at every single convention, before every show I do. I think about that line. It's like, when you leave the football team leaves the locker room and they all jump up and slap the fucking, motto that's written over the door or something like that. That's kind of like my slap the motto thing. I always think about that, hey, we got to sing for our supper. And that's just the way it is. And through doing that, I've been able to sustain a career. I've been able to build a following. I've been able to build a readership, and that's kind of what it's all about. And I just wanted to talk about that again here on the show as I get ready to hit the road again. Just give myself a little perspective. Maybe, if you're getting out there doing your thing, give you a little perspective on that, because it's as long as you approach these things, without, kind of taking the don't take things personally type of thing. You have to remove that from you. You have to just be there, have a good time. And if you put if the work is there, you've put the work in, it's going to happen, but you can't just sit back and do nothing. That's just not going to happen, but it can be done. And just remember that, it's easier said than done, and it's not instant gratification, and it's not going to happen all at once. But if you're singing for your supper, you're gonna eventually just be sitting at the head of the table, not even worrying about it, getting served up. So anyway, so I'm optimistic for this year. I'm ready to go out there and hit it hard, give it all I got. So come out and see me this year if I'm in your city. We will have a ball and a biscuit, sugar, and I'm going to tell you all about it. It's going to be great. So Anyway, that's the show for this week. Thank you guys for everything. Thank you to my mom. Thank you to John Wayne is Dead. Chris Jett, shouts out. I will be hitting the road, so if you're not following me on my socials already, please do at John Wayne is Dead all over. You will see I post on my stories all the stops that I make along the road. I will be driving this one, and then there's going to be a lot of updates while I'm there in Houston. So follow me for all of that and to check out the show in San Antonio. Go to johnwayneisdead.com to order any books or music from me. I will sign them. I will send you extra goodies. I appreciate you oh so much. Don't forget to check out my Patreon as well. Patreon.com/johnwayneisdead. All of these are links that are on johnwayneisdead.com. So check it out. Thank you guys. I'll see you next time.